want to give you a little flavour of just some of the things I'm working on this week as I frantically try and close out my to-do list before the Christmas break. So I'm currently working on two Fresh Start bills, one in Illinois and one in Alabama. And both of these basically would make it easier for people who have old criminal records, who have since re-entered society, paid their debts and are living upstanding lives, to get into licensed occupations. So a lot of jobs you need a license to be able to do, whether that's being a plumber, cosmetologist, a hair braider, barber, all different jobs. Often you can be locked out of these professions if you have an old criminal record. So we're trying to ease the path back into work for people who have turned their lives around. So working on those two bills at the moment in Alabama and Illinois, working within coalitions there, and I think we can hopefully accomplish some good things. Also working at the moment on some housing bills in Texas. So we're part of a coalition in Texas that's trying to enact a lot of zoning reform that would make it easier to build, increase people's property rights, and let them do what they want with the property that they own, whether that's building accessory dwelling units or building townhouses, duplexes, and just different, more dense land uses in cities where development should be, so that we then don't have to concrete over the countryside with sprawl that's bad for everyone. So that's another thing. Also working on a few other things that aren't directly writing bills. So working on penning an op-ed to go in local media in support of a bill that was to do with funeral casket licensing, actually. So this is something I'm working on in Oklahoma, where at the moment we have friends of IJ who run a business making bespoke funeral caskets. And unfortunately, because they are not licensed funeral directors, and why should they be? All they do is make caskets, they're not doing anything else. They can't sell direct to Oklahoma citizens, even though they're based in Oklahoma. They currently have to ship and sell from Texas back into Oklahoma to take advantage of the Commerce Clause of the US Constitution, which lets them do that. But Oklahoma law prohibits them from doing that. So we think it's really absurd. We think this is a great story to tell just about burdensome, Byzantine, Kafkaesque regulations. So we're trying to encapsulate that in a good op-ed that'll really open people's eyes to just some of the bureaucracy that small business owners have to deal with. And then also continuing our triage of some of the bills that have been filed ahead of the coming Texas legislative session that begins on January 14th. So already I think there have been nearly 2,000 bills filed across the House and the Senate. That's an awful lot. Most of these don't touch anything to do with IJ's work, but a lot of them do kind of come close to impacting on some of the pillars we look at, whether that's property rights, free speech, economic liberty, or education freedom. So we have to look at all of those very carefully, see which ones we might want to intervene on, which ones we might want to oppose, and which ones we want to support. So that's a whole process as well, working with lots of other people at IJ to just review those bills and come to the right decision, so we can focus our limited resources where we can do the most good. So that's just some of the things that I'm working on this week as I'm about to clock off for Christmas.